Alright, so last time we wrote a Hello World program in TextEdit and ran it through the console. So let's take a look at what we did here. So I'm just going to open up my TextEdit with my Hello World program. Let's zoom in a bit so you can see what exactly we're looking at. Alright, so when we ran this, let's reopen our terminal. Zoom in a little bit. Alright, so if we did Python 3 and desktop slash hello world.py, we can see there it says hello world. Now, what exactly did we do here? We didn't really talk about what are we actually doing. Now, if we had forgotten and tried to instead run this as Python 2, it still works. Python 2 basically drops these parentheses and runs this still as a statement, not as a function. Even though it looks like a function, it's going to run it as a statement. Now, that might not mean much to you right now. So I've mentioned function. I've mentioned that this is a function in Python 3. And essentially what that does is when you call this, there's some other code somewhere in the language, somewhere in whichever libraries you're using, somewhere maybe in your own code that you've created that's telling it to do something else. So when we do this, it's taking this information that we've put inside of the parentheses and then doing something with it. In this case, printing it into our console or whatever application, whatever output we're using currently. Inside of these parentheses is a string. That's what's inside of these quotation marks. These quotation marks actually tell it that it is a string. If instead we put 34 and I save it and I tell it to run, well, it helps if you type correctly. We'll try this again. "34." Now, if I instead put quotation marks around it and I save it and I run it again, these look the same. This is 34, that's 34. However, Python recognizes this as the number 34, like 34 somethings, whatever that happens to be of. Whereas this 34 is not the number 34. This is the characters 3 and 4, and they're not numbers. Now, that might be a little confusing right now to you, but it'll make more sense as we go. Now, same thing when I'm doing hello world. When I have hello world here, this means something to you and me, but to the computer this means nothing. All this means is that we have a string of characters here, why we call it a string, starting with a capital H, and then a lowercase e, lowercase l, etc., all the way through. To us, this is a greeting, right? With an exclamation point at the end for extra enthusiasm. But to the computer, it's just a series of symbols that it is supposed to do something with. It means nothing to the machine itself other than, like, hey, here's some letters, show them to me when I tell you to. And that's not bad, that's just how it is. So if you make a typo here, it's not going to know what you mean. It's going to print exactly your typo. It's going to print exactly that there, because whether this says hello or maybe hecko or some weird typo in there, it makes no difference to the computer whether you have 2 lowercase l's or 2 lowercase k's. No difference to the computer. Now let's play with this a little bit. Right now we just have one text command, or one print command, one print function if you want to be technical and accurate. So let's add another one, like maybe hello people. And if I hit save and I rerun it, Python 3 desktop slash hello world.py, now we see that we have 2 print commands and they've printed both of them one right after the other. Now what if we want to add like print I said hello people, right? And then we have to close that string there. with our quotation marks, and let's see what happens. Alright, so we got an error here. This error is a syntax error. There is something wrong with how I'm putting stuff together, right? It doesn't understand the syntax, where I'm putting things, the order of things. Something doesn't make sense to it. It's not trying to be difficult. I've just done something that was confusing to it. Now, it tries to help us. It's telling us where to look. It's telling us that in the file hello world on our desktop, in line 3, this line specifically, there's an issue. Now, what the issue is that, once again, keep in mind that this means nothing to the computer. These are just characters. Right here, we've said that this will open the string, and we started giving it characters, right? Now, the issue is we're thinking of this quotation mark as the character quotation mark, but it's not. It's thinking of this as closing the string that we started here. So the string is done. But the issue now is it has this weird command called hello, comma, that it doesn't know, and a space, and another command with people exclamation point, and then an empty string here, and that's a little confusing for it. So the issue is we want to be able to use these without it confusing what the string is, without it thinking that we're trying to end the string. We can start a string with either double quotes or single quotes, and then we can use whatever the other one is inside of it. The thing is, don't mix and match. If I switch this to double quotes as well, and I try to run this again, it gets confused, because once again, keep in mind that I've told it I'm opening a string with this character, and so it's looking for the other one to close the string, and it never ends. So then it gets confused because the string never ends, and it's confusing. All of these are extra characters. Where does the string end? When do I stop? What do I do? It doesn't know what to do. So I need to make sure that I close the string using the same mark that I opened it with. So we'll save that. And actually, this is getting a little crazy. Let's open a new terminal. All right, so Python 3 / space desktop / hello world.py. There we go, it worked. All right, so one other thing. Thinking about some of the things that I've already shown you, that I think I've shown you, maybe I haven't. Well, this might require a little bit of research, but that's good because sometimes you have to figure things out on your own. Can you figure out how to make this work? I said, what's up? Right? Because the issue here is, as you can probably see it, we have a double quote and a single quote and a double quote. And so how do we make sure that it doesn't confuse this for closing it? And if we do double quotes here, then how do we make sure that it knows that this isn't closing it? So what do you do? See if you can figure that out.